Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is your host Majestic speaking, coming to you with another episode of Mech Warrior Online here. And today we're playing with the Shadowhawk 2K with new tech. So we're going to go through the mech lab after this round is over, but right now we're playing on Frozen City Incursion game mode. And as you can see, we have 3 ER small lasers, 2 MRM-20s, and an MRM-10, so an MRM-50 overall. And essentially what we're going to do here is we're just going to take advantage of every spot we possibly can. And we're playing a little bit of mid-range and we're playing a little bit of brawling. So, you know, there's a combination. There's got to be a happy balance between the two. And we're just taking some peeking, poking kind of shots right now. I'm looking at where my team is grouped up. And they're all pretty much right in front of these guys. So just putting some fire down. Just getting some early shots in here, especially on this Night Gear, who looks like he's a little too aggressive right now, and we're going to get some shots into him. Now, I know you guys might be thinking, why not just take an MRM-40 and an MRM-10, or something else like that? Well, in case I want to chain fire or something like that, I wanted to take advantage of all 3 missile hardpoints here. We did just take off that Night Gear's torso, so he's going to get a couple of hardpoints taken off of him, and this Shadowhawk 2D2, with a couple things on him. He's going back behind the buildings there, but I do have some friendlies with me now. So we're going to go in on this Night Gear again. He's going to put some shots into my left torso, which is where all of my energy hardpoints are, but we still have our MRMs to boot. So turning the corner now, going to go in on this Shadowhawk. He has a quad center torso. Maybe we can get the kill here. He's going to go behind the wall. We're going to put both salvos of both the energy and the missile into him, and he somehow escaped that. So now we're going to move into the next silo, and right in front of us we have an Executioner and a Thunderbolt. They did core up my left torso, but I do have some support. I'm going to use those jump jets that I have in my center torso to get me up and above and just get some shots down on these guys. Did happen to overheat here, but I do have some support from the rest of my friendlies. This Bushwhacker's trying to put some shots into me, but he's kind of nervous. Like, he doesn't want to be here, but he thinks he should. It's 2-2 right now, and we're just trying to take advantage of whoever pops around the corner, like this Thunderbolt who's coming around very, very aggressively. We're going to go for that center torso again, and he's shut down, and somehow he's still alive. Cord center torso, and finally my friend is able to wrap that one up. 5-3 at this point, but it looks like we switched sides. So now we're going to head back towards them. I did get a shot into my center torso from that Wolfhound, who happened to core me up, which is good on him. We have an Enforcer out in the distance there. Tried to put a quick little salvo into him with a couple shots of MRM fire, but he is going to make it back towards the rest of the buildings. Just going to keep my distance now, play more of a support role, obviously, with the cord center torso. We don't want to get too aggressive and die. They did happen to get another kill, so that's 5-4 now. 5-5, so we're all square. Going to take advantage of these guys. They're coming out in the middle of the open terrain here. Like Charlie. Charlie is up against the wall there, and he does happen to get back. That's a Trebuchet, and he's got an MRM-30 and some medium lasers to boot. So we do have to be careful of him. He's got his back turned to us, and we happen to get the back kill shot on him before he could get towards the rest of his friendlies, who seem to be split now at this point. It's 7-5, and yeah, if we could take advantage of it, we could really wrap up this round very, very quickly. We did happen to get the left arm off on that Centurion, and it looks like he went down. Yeah, it's 8-5 now. This Wolfhound is coming around the corner. It looks like he still has some medium pulse firepower to work with. Cord center torso on the backside, and he'll go down very quickly, but I'm going to change my attention towards Alpha now, who looks like he's harassing one of my friendlies. I'm going to put some shots into his maybe center torso now. Yeah, he's not even focusing up on us, but he could get me down if he does want to put his attention on me. I'm just going to keep spinning out of that. 11-6 now. So we did happen to wrap that up very, very quickly. Somehow I stayed alive throughout all of that. They didn't focus their fire on me, even though they could have. I did lose an ER small laser in my left torso, but that's about it. We can take down one more target, and then we should be square. Don't know exactly where he is, but if we can not only tap their base, get a shot down on this guy wherever he is, maybe get the the closing kill, then that should be all said and done. So now we're just scanning the map, staying out in the open a little bit, which I'm going to try and avoid just in case he is long range. Don't want to lose my center torso and just, you know, be a worthless kill that really they just got to pad their statistics, if you will. But now I'm going to group up with my friendlies. My friendlies are heading over towards their base. I'm going to make sure that I stay behind them. We have some big boys up front. And yeah, we have this Marauder 2C and a Thunderbolt who are taking the front line, if you will. So I'll use them as kind of the shield at this point. And I think the last guy, I'm not sure exactly where he is, but just in case he is nowhere to be found. Oh, there he is. Okay, so he just got killed. We just have to tap their base, and this round is over. There it is. And we got the supply cache, so we get the cookie out of that one as well. Supportive roll, guys. So we could fire 3 different salvos at a time between the MRM-20s and the MRM-10 that we have in here. And that's really what I wanted to accomplish with this build. You're chain firing through them. 1 kill, 9 assist, 895, 4 KMDDs, and 5 components destroyed. A great first round, a great little warm-up round here. Incursion mode on Frozen City. Great job, team. Excellent job cleaning them all up, wrapping up those critical shots and getting the kills. But now it's time to head over to the mech lab and go through the rest of the details of this mech and the build. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the mech lab, where we're going to go through the details for the build on the mech I have in front of me, the Shadowhawk 2K. Now, you guys typically know me for running out the Shadowhawk 2K with Lord Wub, and we've done that before in the past, but with all the new tech, I wanted to address the missile hardpoints, as opposed to, you know, the 3 large pulse or anything like that, or combination of SRMs and everything. So, as you guys saw from the first round, we have a bit of a different loadout to work with now. We have a combination of both lasers and mid-range, so the missile fire with MRM. So that's really what I wanted to tailor this build towards, and I'm going to go through all the nitty-gritty details about the build. So we're going to go through an explanation as to why I configured it the way that I did, and maybe if you want to try this build out for yourselves, you know, you can either copy the way that I have it, or I'll show you some modifications that you can make in order to make it maybe more, conducive to your type of play style and how you want to run it. But let's go through the details of the mech. We're going to hop into the mech lab and go through the overview first. And hopping down here, as you can see, we have them all right here in front of us. So 0 ballistic, 3 energy, 3 missile, 1 AMS. So pretty much 3 and 3, unless you want to take advantage of that AMS hardpoint. As you can see, it is completely quirked out. It is completely mastered. I have all the skills for it unlocked. So this is pretty much optimal type of performance with this particular build if you run it the way that I run it and, you know, get into the kind of situations I get into. But looking at the loadout in and of itself, we have 2 MRM-20s and an MRM-10. Now, I know you guys might be thinking, oh, why not just do, 2 MRM-30s or something like that, or, 3 MRM-10s. The way that I wanted to configure it was for an MRM-50, and the reason being is because you have the biggest hike between the 10s and the 20s. You have 4-ton differences between the 10 and the 20s, then 3 tons between the 20 and the 30, and then 2-ton difference between the 30 and the 40. So progressively, as you go up, you're losing the differential in the tonnage, so you go from 4 to 3 to 2 by the time you get to the 40s. One way that I would also configure this, if you wanted to, is putting 3 MRM-10s in there, and then you save pretty much 8 tons, and you could put a bigger engine in there. I believe you could go 102 kph roughly, so if I change these out really quick, put in the MRM-10s, keeping everything else the same, as you can see, we have 8 tons to work with now, and if I put this up to, I believe it's a 3 something, right? It's a 320. Yeah, the 320. You go 101.3 kph. You still have the empty engines heat sinks here. If you want to shave off some armor on the arms, you can put the heat sinks in there. Depending on if that's how you want to run it, your firepower does decrease a bit. So how I had it before with the MRM-20s in there and then the MRM-10s, you're still using the same amount of missiles, but your firepower per salvo is drastically increased with the 20s in there. So when we go up to there, we were at, what, 37 or something before? Now we're at 59 or 39, now 59. So there is a bit of a difference there. I like to pack a punch. That's just a personal preference. I'm just giving you guys some options. Obviously, you can go with the MRM-10s, put maybe medium pulse in there, and then combination with a bigger light engine, something like that. But the big difference here is obviously if you're decreasing the size of the MRMs that you're using, you go from a 7 to 3 tons, so you're saving 4 tons per MRM to go down from 20s to 10s. That's really just the difference that I wanted to show you guys. Everything is in the torsos. There are no hard points in the arms. I did want to factor in jump jets there as well, so I put those in the center torso, and then I have 4.5 tons of ammo, which is what? So you get 300 rounds per ton here, so that's 1,200 plus 150, so we have 1,350 rounds, as you saw from the first round of gameplay. I did stack an extra double heatsink in there. I can take that out technically and increase the size of the engine a little bit, but I did want to have at least a minimum of 80 kph to work with, and it works like a charm. I mean, the first round of gameplay spoke for itself, and you guys are about to see 2 more rounds of gameplay. I really want to emphasize, obviously, this is a personal preference, so, you may agree with it, you may disagree with it, you may want to, mix and match it the way that you, that is more, I guess, constructive for you and your play style and everything, but this is how I wanted to configure it, and it does work for how I want to play it. So I did keep the arms for shields. I want to protect my mounts as much as I possibly can. I don't want to get critted out, and that's even the reason why I went with a light engine. I know I can fit an XL engine in here if I wanted to. Maybe go with standard armor instead, and that will drop the tonnage, or the tonnage requirement really for the engine. But I decided to make this thing a tank, so it's a very high alpha build in comparison to the other options that you can run with it, but I wanted to stick with the light engine. I wanted to have armor on the arms, so even if I lose a torso, I still have the other torso to work with that is still keeping me in the fight, especially with these high mounts. So they're all right next to the cockpit, so pretty much if I can see it, I can shoot it, and that was the big ticket here. And in case I can't, where I think I might be behind an obstacle or something like that, jump jets, you could hop up really quick. We have a jump jet distance of 19.1, so pretty much just gets you above the level of where you need to go in order to see your opponents, put down your salvo, and then dip back into cover. So that's pretty much the explanation on the build. 55 out of 55 tons, 77 out of 78 slots, 370 out of 370 armor. This thing is completely filled to the brim with armor. And then we have the heat management is 1.32. There is a bigger cockpit. That's the only reason why I didn't take armor out of the head and maybe put another half ton of ammo in here, something like that. That's just personal preference. Again, 1.32 is the heat management, 11 double heat sinks. 59.7 is the alpha, so almost 60 on an alpha between the MRMs and those ER smalls. That's what I'm going for with the energy weapons. Instead of mediums, instead of medium pulse or anything, I decided to go with ER smalls just to give myself a little bit more of an extended range, a little bit of a poke up front. Obviously, if we do engage closer to our targets, with this being a little bit more of a brawler to mid-range support mech, it's a kind of a hybrid between the two, and that's how I like to play it. 80.7 kph, as I mentioned, that is with speed tweak and a light 255. 19.1 is the jump distance, as I mentioned, and as I said before, the light 255 is the engine we're going with. Skills. We went with a combination of everything, so I did want to cater to both the missile hardpoints and the energy hardpoints. So I did do a combination of, obviously, the velocity nodes, the laser duration nodes, and pretty much just have a happy balance between the two from the firepower tree. Obviously, I could go with high explosives if I wanted to give that crit chance and everything. I could go with more laser duration if you want to go heavier focus on firepower, but I decided to go more towards survival up front if I do want to use it for brawling, just in case. We have 81 kph to work with, so it's kind of a happy balance between the two. So it is a bit of a tank if you do decide to use it as a brawler, but even at support distances, you're not losing a whole lot of armor by adding the skeletal densities and the armor hardening and so forth. Mobility, as I mentioned, you want to be able to get out of situations very quickly if you don't want to put a bigger engine in there. So I did want to, obviously adhere to some nodes for kinetic burst, speed tweak, anchor turning, torso speed, so on and so forth. We are all torso mounted, so there is no, pitching of the arms or anything at extreme angles. You have to have, torso pitch and torso speed as much as you possibly can. I did take a couple nodes off here and there just to, factor it a little bit towards even operations with improved gyros, the heat management, cool run, and getting that last node here with auxiliary. So that's just a personal preference. Again, it's always up to you guys how you want to run your builds. and there's so much customization that you can make, and this just happens to work for me with this interesting combination of the nodes here. If you want to copy it, feel free to do so. I can provide you guys with a Smurfy link, at least for the build, and then, you know, find a tree to make for the nodes. And I'm constantly messing with this. This isn't a set-in-stone build by any means. I'm going to keep messing with it and configuring it the way that I want to configure it, but that's going to do it for the overview. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that it was very informative for you guys who do want to run this build. This is what I'm running for the consumables, the Cool Shot 18 and the Artillery Strike, but that's going to wrap it up for the overview on both the mech and the skill tree, completely configured, mastered entirely, so I hope that that was informative for you guys, but I think it's about that time we take out the Shadowhawk 2K. It's not Lord Wub, but it's his other cousin, I guess we could say, from a long distance, Sir MRM or something like that. I don't know. But let's head out to the battlefield for 2 more rounds of gameplay with our new and improved Shadowhawk 2K with the new tech. Here we go. Alrighty guys, here we go. Second round of gameplay is going to take place on Grim Plexus Assault game mode. Now, as you can see, we're about 2.5 minutes into the round at this point, and we are charging towards the 6 line. So Echo 6 and Fox 6 peering above on the plateau, and this direwolf right in front of us is way too far out in the open, so we're going to get a big shot into him with both the lasers and the MRMs. He's not even paying attention to us, and that is the fantastic part about all these high-mounted weapons. He's not even looking our way until just then. It took 3 salvos to get this guy to look our way in the ultraviolet. So that's 100 tons that they could potentially lose right now, and this Shadow Cat isn't even paying attention to us, so we took off his arm, and he does lose some of his machine guns there, so he's going to back up towards the rest of his team now, and now we're going to peer on the Direwolf again. Cord center torso, cord right torso, we're going to go for the kill, and we get it, so he goes down very, very early in the match. It is 2-zip, and we're only at just beyond the 12-minute mark here. This Spore's head across the way isn't paying attention to us either, so we got another big salvo into him. Man, this is a perfect position for this mech right above the plateau, and we're able to fire straight across onto the other side. This guy's going to go back towards the rest of his team, maybe into cover. I think he's shut down, so we're going to take advantage of this if we can. Go for that center torso, the other right torso, where a majority of his armament is configured, and there it is. He's completely stripped, completely neutered, completely useless. 5-0 now. We did take some incoming fire. We are a little amber and yellow all over the mech, but this Ebonjag, again, what are these guys? They're not even paying attention to what's going on next to them. They're so focused on where the rest of our team is that us guys that are still on the flank are able to take absolute and total control of the top, get these guys on a flank. It is 6-1 right now, and now we can be a little bit more aggressive. Gonna put a big salvo right into this cicada right in front of us, and he's gonna try and run away, get another spread shot across the mech. He has a cord center torso, so we have to remember that. Turning right, where the rest of their team is probably hiding, we have the Centurion right in front of us, Juliet, and he's not even looking at us. I know I have another target next to me. We have this Warhammer right in front of us. He's going to put a big shot into my center torso, going to core it out with those, I believe he has dual Gauss on the front side of that mech and the 2 ballistic hardpoints. This Catapult isn't paying attention to us. He's going for our Adder, so we're going to be able to get some shots into him if we cool down. I did already use my cool shot, and that's going to wrap up the round extremely quickly before we even hit the 10-minute mark. So guys, understanding your role is absolutely critical out there on the battlefield, and here is the result of the round. 1 kill, 7 assists, 4 KMDDs, 1034 damage with 3 components destroyed. We took the top of the plateau. We were able to put some fire down early on and get their big guys down. They hid behind the rocks, and we just swarmed them from all sides to end this round very quickly. But that's going to do it for the second round. Let's head over to the third and final round of gameplay. Here we go. Alrighty guys, here we go. Third and final round is going to take place on River City. We're playing skirmish game mode, and we're just grouping up with our assaults. That's what I'm telling everyone over comms, is just to make sure that we take our attention and apply it directly towards wherever the assaults are focusing on. We know that the entire enemy team is grouping up right around the Citadel, so if we can provide support in multiple aspects, multiple vantage points, take advantage of the terrain around us as they try to enter out in the open, that's what's going to get us those critical shots, those critical kills, and ultimately the victory. So right now I'm taking a very, very aggressive approach right here. I'm going to point and aim right down on these guys in front of me. This summoner doesn't even see me. We did get some incoming fire from one of the flanks, maybe one of these guys that are off in the distance here, but we were able to put down a sufficient amount of damage into these guys before they were able to return that fire back on us. And that Hunchback, besides a couple jams maybe in that left torso, he's pretty much useless now. And this summoner right in front of us, he did fire into the building, so he did miss us, but we did return the favor and get a salvo back into him, or at least a partial salvo, and that's what matters. Now we're going to put down an arty strike on these guys. That is going to land, so it is going to hit a bunch of them. I went past my assault, so I knew that my assault would be able to see the red smoke and therefore back up and get out of the vicinity. So now we're able to take advantage of this point. Yet again, we have a couple distractions that are running around these guys, and they're all kind of squirreling on this guy. So now we can take advantage with all these torso-mounted weapons, just shredding through components off these guys and just constantly laying some salvos down. I still have my cool shot, so I'm just going to keep spreading the damage across these guys, taking off guns left and right, focusing up on this Atlas. The Atlas did land a big shot on me just there, but he is going to have to back up, and I'm going to keep using my jump jets, taking off components, coring some armor, making it easier for our guys to just completely lay waste to these guys. That summoner popped up. He did happen to get a shot into me. I do have to be careful as I'm very much riding the heat scale. I did have a bad overheat just then, but we're going to stand our ground right here. I have a cord center torso. It's 4-2 right now. We need to be careful. We can take advantage of this right now. We have teammates on both sides of the Citadel, so these guys are pinned down. This Atlas is useless. The summoner, we just took off one of his arms, but he has torso-mounted weapons, so we do need to be aware of that. We took off one of his 2 PPCs. He's going to try and get back into cover, but little does he know, I'm going to go right into his backside and take him out entirely, so he is now no longer a threat. Going for the Nova now in front of us, going to core out his backside. Another overheat on my side, just because I was trying to get that kill before he was able to use those ER mediums on anyone else. Going to put another salvo into him, maybe take out one of those legs. Yeah, there goes one leg, there goes the other leg. We're able to land the kill shot by taking out his other leg, and there he goes. It is 10-4, 11-4 now. Just one more kill left before the end of this round, and there he is off in the distance. Not entirely sure the health or status of this guy. I'm guessing it's a light mech based on how fast and the profile, but I wasn't able to get any sort of targeting. Maybe he has stealth because I didn't even get a chance to try and target this guy, so we'll have to see exactly how this pans out. I'm just looking in every direction. I'm seeing if he's this way, that way. It is skirmish game mode, so he can just play this one out if he wants. And we'll be here for 9.5 more minutes, but hopefully he doesn't let us suffer through that. It's 11-4. I mean, there's no other objective for this guy to go for that he could even, you know, consider trying to defeat us with, other than, you know, sheer firepower if he were to pick us off 1 by 1 8 times. So, based on the fact that I looked down the line, I didn't see anything that way, and over comms, everyone is telling us that he's probably over on the other side behind the Citadel along the 7 line. We're going to make our way back in that direction just in case we come across him. Maybe he's going to come back on the harbor side of things. Not entirely sure. We have a Raven here with us, so we're really in good company right now, and I'm sure that we'll find him within the next couple minutes, if not a couple seconds, because with 8 guys trying to find one guy around somewhere on this map, you know, it shouldn't be too complicated. And there he is. Okay, so now maybe he took off his stealth armor. Not entirely sure what mech this is, but we're going to head in that direction. Indigo. Pirate's Bane. Okay, yes, he definitely had stealth armor because we weren't able to target him before. He has ECM, so he did trigger that stealth there. And it looks like he's coming in our direction. He's going to hop behind the building here. I'm going to wait for him to come on this side, but no, he went the other way. A little misdirection there, and we're just going to put some salvos into him. My team is able to group up on this guy. Maybe we could take out one of his legs, potentially. Just spraying it across his body and go for the leg. Come on, let's get the kill. Okay, nice, we got the leg, and my friend was able to round up that final kill shot to end and get us the victory. So that is going to do it for the final round of gameplay with this Shadowhawk 2K. 12-4 is your final score. Skirmish game mode, River City, 2 kills, 8 assists, 1091 damage with 11 components destroyed. So definitely the healthiest round out of all of them. Top the leaderboards on this one, but man, is this a build to work with. It's tanky, it's maneuverable, it's got a great amount of firepower, And along with your team, as long as you support your team, you know, you have a fantastic chance of winning because it's a hybrid role. It's both a brawler and a support mech. But that's going to do it for this episode of Mech Warrior Online. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, check out the links in the description. I'll have my links for Twitch, Patreon, PayPal, everything, any way that you guys want to help support the channel, I'm appreciative of. I really just love having you guys here. I really take pride in these videos, and the fact that you guys continue to support them means more than anything to me. So thank you guys so much again for all of the continued support. You know, the new tech videos and everything are going to be coming out soon. I have so many updates for you guys coming along the line, and especially with MechCon on the horizon now, there's a lot more to come. So thank you guys so much again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Take care, guys.